All right, hello, hello. Are we live? I think we are live. And I'm 3 minutes late. Oh no. Oh, terribly sorry. Terribly bad of me. And we have 3 viewers. Hey. That's cool. Welcome, everyone. Whoever you are, at least here in Finland, it's right in the middle of Monday, which means that all of my potential viewers are at work. This is, of course, a very unannounced stream. But I have a pretty tight schedule set up for myself right now on how to work on Traction Point. And I'm a little ahead of schedule actually by just like 1 or 2 days. But anyway, I figured I can probably do a little bit of live development. And it doesn't really matter if we don't have that many viewers because these things are going to go online as VODs anyway. So this is almost kind of like recording the traction, the transmission videos. They're almost recorded as if they were live streams, even though of course they weren't. They were recorded in advance, but they were pretty much set up the same way as a live stream. Anyway, welcome everyone who is watching. Today we're going to do a little bit of 3D modeling, I feel. Last time we did some programming. Today we're going to do some 3D modeling. I kind of feel like I'm probably better at 3D modeling live than I am at programming live. I always make a lot of stupid mistakes when I'm trying to program live on camera, and I need to get better at that. But let's do some laid-back 3D modeling today. Right, so I was thinking I would improve this entrance here a little bit. So this is the demo level for Traction Point, and it is something that I hope to actually put out relatively soon this year, so that you guys can play around with it, mess around with it. And it is of course very much like a white box thing at this point. I'm going for a pretty low fidelity look with Traction Point. Earlier Project Slide had a much more detailed art style. It's not going to be this bare bones though. This is clearly like very, very white boxy, but still a slightly less detailed look, just so that I can actually finish this game. And my workflow currently is that I use the system that I call Blender Sync, which I have detailed in a previous video, which I'm happy to show you if you don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, the system is looks like this. We have a standard Blender instance running here. What is this, Blender 3.6? Yeah, I'm not on 4 yet. I should probably update. And I have a custom plugin that I've developed for it here called Basis Blender Sync. Basis, of course, being the name of my game engine. And with this, you can do some pretty cool things. Let's start the server here. That means that Blender is now the instance which is used to do my Blender Sync modeling. I can have multiple Blender instances, but only one of them should have the Blender Sync server running. If we go back to whoa, what happened there? Yeah, looks like my input is somehow stuck. Okay, let's reboot. So reload the backend. That hasn't happened before. I've noticed some pretty weird things with after I updated my OBS lately, and I wonder if that is somehow involved with this. Anyway, now we're back to not flying away. Right, so if we take this building for example here, this is modeled using the Blender sync system. You can just click edit in Blender here, and wait a minute, you can see, or not a minute, but a second, you can see this sphere around it, which denotes how much of the surrounding stuff you want to bring into Blender. And now we can quite simply just mess around with Blender and edit this and do like something like this, for example. And we can finish editing, for example. And it brings it into Blender or into Basis, and you can immediately see the changes. And you get physics, and you get everything brought over. You don't have to mess around with any files or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. And this is how I model things at this point in development. So after a while, I will of course want to, well, first of all, I might want to actually instantiate these things, have multiple of them. And Blender Sync isn't really very good for that sort of thing. Let's undo the change and get back to where we were. You can see these doors here, for example. They are in Blender Sync model. They actually originally were just taken from a piece of this wall here, but then I just turned them into a proper FBX file that I then import into the engine, and then I can instantiate as many of them as I want. And I can, for example, just duplicate this guy and bring in a new one. But quite many of these things are actually modeled in using the Blender Sync system. Even this monorail thing here, which, like, if we edit this, we have to wait actually quite a while for Blender to open it up, because it brings with it like a pretty significant chunk of the level here, as you can see. Blender is still opening it up. Let's see, can we get it? Yeah, there we go. And like, you don't need to bounce back and forth between Blender and Basis all the time to do these kinds of things. You can just make some changes, and then you can do update and keep editing, so you don't have to actually bring those in. Another fun fact is the fact that this monorail trail is actually modeled using geometry nodes, just out of a pretty small piece of track that I have right here. Looks like this. So it follows like a spline. So pretty handy. And essentially all of these cliffs and all of these buildings and everything, they're just modeled like this. And you can even have like textures and things attached to them if you really want to, but I typically don't do that. I just keep them give them like a single color, and then later on, when I want to do like the final version of this building, for example, I can open this up in Blender Sync. I can extract it, essentially like make it into a true Blender file, and then add more details and things to that. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, today I was thinking we would improve on this entrance thingy here. I did a little paint over here in Krita earlier as to what that thing could be. We have this pretty big mother vehicle, as it is called here. You can see like a person standing there. These are so-called scale mannequins. They're just very basic humanoid meshes here that you can place in the level to get a sense of the scale. You can see that this wall is actually pretty big, pretty high, and these doors are also pretty big. And what I would start with today is something that looks like this, and this might look a little weird, and if it's of course just a very quick drawing that I did to or painted over this to give it sort of a sense of scale and shape. We need something that the mother vehicle can drive under. This might even be like slightly high. We don't need the mother vehicle to be doesn't need quite that much space. This thing that you see on top here, this is how I envision these people having sort of a very large screen of sorts. So these blue dots that you see here, these are sort of like pixels. We would have many more than like 7 times 4. But yeah, the gameplay, which I'm not gonna completely spoil for you right now, but the gameplay sort of requires this system to give some hints to the player. Or doesn't require, but it sort of is part of the design. And this is how I envision that these people would have like this big sort of almost like holographic screen, which would project like an image here between these two sort of pillars and things. And that would mean that we would start by making these walls slightly thicker, then building this structure on top. And again, we're not going to do like final quality, just get the overall shape and idea across and see where that takes us. And yeah, I don't actually have the tech in place currently to do this sort of holographic screen, but that I have a pretty good plan for how I'm going to do that. And it involves the recent video work that I did on video playback work. And yeah, then I think we'll want to actually mess around with some other things in here. So one thing that is kind of fun to do, we can maybe let's put down some debug boxes here. That's the big one, right? And that's the small one. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe have some of both. A few of both here. Like this. Like that. Right, we can perhaps let's make like a new folder for this to put these things in. A folder, we call this some like gate blockout or something, and we move those guys over to the we need to move them there first and then there. Yeah, that's stupid. I need to fix that. You can just drag them directly. But anyway, then we'll take the physics simulation, only select all objects, and we can just drop those to the ground like that. Boom. There we go. Now they're sitting on the ground. So we can save that. And now we take like a mother. We don't actually need to place the mother. We can just take. And actually, what I will want to do still to make our lives a bit easier is to take one of these free camera setups. We align the selected object with the camera and auto enable. Yes. So now if we just play the game, it will sort of teleport us here. So we take like a mother vehicle here. We got put on top of the boxes. Let's not do that. This guy has a crane, which we can control. And this is, of course, really big. Tutu says, hey man. Or girl. or non-binary pronoun, if that is what you prefer. Yes, you can control this crane. It doesn't have actually sort of proper controls yet. You can, for example, control it with the gamepad, but you can control it. And you can lift things with it. You can lift other cars and stuff. You can also lift these smaller things. And I was thinking that maybe we would add in some more like boxes and things to like mess around with. My games, even though they are kind of physics based, have a lot of physics in them, they tend to not have like a bunch of like just crap lying around, which is obviously something that you would want in a game like this, where you have a lot of physics and things to mess around with. Yeah, this crane is not super easy to control yet. But that is, of course, sort of part of the charm. Games like this. So can we lift that up? Yes, we can. Woo! Oh, that's strange. Wow, there's some weird force causing it to go haywire. Let's drop that. I wonder why that was. Let's try to lift one of these other ones. Lift that. I didn't hit it. I didn't hit it and quit it. Anyway, my whole sort of point with all of this is that I should probably like model some slightly larger containers and things that we can just like mess around with. These are actually super tricky to sort of hit. If we put down a car here, those are typically kind of easy to lift. And there will actually be sort of gameplay and puzzles based around the idea of just like moving things around. Let's see, can I hit that? Alright, that should be good. Now we can lift the thing. Yay, and we can even simultaneously drive around with this vehicle while this car is being carried. Yes, so anyway, sort of scatter things around this entrance. Let's see how far we can get. I haven't really planned this out very long. My voice is a bit low. Okay, let's see if we can actually remedy that. So I'm gonna raise the gain on my microphone a little bit. Hopefully this would be better. Let me know if it's too loud or if it is still too low. But hopefully it'll be all right. So let's just go. Let's just start modeling things, creating this thing here. So confession time. I haven't used Blender for, well, really anything in probably half a year. That's why I'm still on 3.6. I should probably update to 4. Oh, I need to double click to cancel that. Yes. And so I hope I remember how to use the damn thing. But we'll see. Right, so the first thing I was thinking we would do is make the sort of ends of this wall a bit thicker. So these gates here, which you can actually already open. We created a script to do that in an earlier video episode. You can run, I think it is open main gate, and you can see the things open up nicely, and they sort of slide. Of course, oh, flew back here. Apologies for that. They sort of slide along the. Well, I don't need to do that. I can just slide them here in the editor. Sort of slide along the wall like this. So I was thinking we would make the wall a bit thicker, and that would mean that these gates would then sort of slide into the wall, at least conceptually. So how do we do that? Well, I think first of all we might want to piece is so ridiculously large. I would never model anything if this wasn't like a Blender Sync object. I would never model anything at this scale. Try to do it in smaller pieces. Let's get rid of those faces. I'm just sort of terrified of messing up the Blender work now. Let's see, face orientation. Yes, that looks good. And so what is pretty cool here is the fact that you can sort of immediately see if something is off. First of all, you should, when doing Blender Sync work, you should just smart UV wrap all the time. I'm going to just do like update and keep editing, and yeah, these large things take a little while to export. This takes too long though. Blender is slow for some reason. You can just immediately see like, okay, that is sort of what it's going to look like. Was that good or was it not? And you can of course keep these programs like side by side even if you want to see what you're doing and how it's going. Oh, not that. Let's do some put in some loops here. So we want a hole for the sort of wall to sort of slide through. And the wall is also, or the gate, sorry, the gate is also has this angle. So we want something to sort of come down on this side. Maybe you can have big rotating lights as the gate opens and closes. Well, yes, we'll see exactly what the end result will be. But yes, I will have some big signs that sort of report the state of this station, and also hopefully gives the player some sort of hint as to what to do. So yeah, we'll see. Right. How should we do this now? Want the sort of top to extend over the gate. So we can definitely do that. We can just extend, and we want to extend not in. Yeah, well, then it extends in all directions except that. See if I can remember how to do these things here. So we can do edge, right? The edge, and we can extend along the, yeah, like that. So we like defined a new sort of axis for ourselves to work over. Wow, this export is taking ages. Shouldn't be this slow. That's kind of a bummer. But all right. Right, so this gate is perhaps a slightly too high, but we can work around that right now because this is not in a Blender Sync file. We can work around that for the time being by just maybe doing. Oh, come on. What? Don't I have more than like 3 or 4 undo slots? That's stupid. Where's my undo history? Where is undo? System, right? Undo steps 32. That's probably too low, but I still think it should have like. Oh, it probably clears it when I send the data over. Yeah, that's stupid actually. That's not good. Yeah. All right. And we can see that my extrusion wasn't perhaps all that good. But nevertheless, let's move this to, set this to world, I think. global. Yeah, as you can see, I'm just like relearning Blender here as we're speaking. I'm just relearning Blender. Right, so this wall is like ridiculously big, ridiculously large, and ridiculously high. This looks kind of thin, but it's actually not. It's kind of wide or thick. Let's see if we can just at least like fit this on top of the gate now, and we can. Right, so now I want the other side to come down, and then I probably want like some stairs or something here on the other side of this. I kind of like to imagine, try to make these things at least somewhat believable. So how large should the platform be? Something like that, maybe. Cut those faces away. Oh, actually, should we just like? Should we just actually? I think I'm gonna take that away. I'm gonna do like a face there, and then I'm gonna do a face. Which way does that face go? It goes the right way. Okay. So I've just sort of like a small platform here. This is not supposed to be actually slanted. Oh. Supposed to be straight. And something like that. Maybe. And then from that platform, we will probably have some stairs. Again, this looks kind of flimsy now, but it's actually just like a solid half meter of concrete, probably, or something. The scale is perhaps a little exaggerated, to say the least. And then like the support arm for the structure that we were talking about earlier will probably like rise from this. Like it can't rise from here. It needs to rise from this part, because otherwise, obviously, it would sort of go through the gate as it is opening. Let's use that edge that we used earlier and move this along, make it a bit thicker still, and then probably cut somewhere. Yeah, and then we can bring this down to there, and yeah, I think that should be sort of like the base shape, but it's like slightly too wide. Of course, these things don't really matter in a game about driving cars around, but they're kind of. I mean, I like making things. I like making worlds that are sort of at least somewhat believable, and so they matter to me, at least a little bit. We can bring in the other objects. I've been so caught up in trying to learn Blender again that I sort of momentarily forgot that I do have these surroundings in here. I don't need to go between the game, jump between the game and the Blender all the time. Right, so we can bring these guys. Actually, no. Grab Y. Make it a little wider still. And then probably cut here. And then bring that over. And we have like the rough shape of the opening for the gate, right? Something like that. And right, then we have this ground here. I think now we might want to actually let's finish editing for now, and we'll go back here. And we can just take the ground brush, and what do we want to do? We probably want to actually lower this. So I'm going to record that height and then just bring this down a little bit, and then smooth this out like so. Right. I have some questions about the rendering here. Let's see. Let's see. Are you using any fancy render techniques in your engine? Well, I can immediately say no. My renderer is anything but fancy. Draw indirect, just plain draw indexed instance. Yes, I'm using instanced rendering at least. With or without any fancy calling techniques on HCB. I don't know what is HCB. Yeah, I'm probably not using HCB because I don't know what that stands for, but yes, I'm not doing any like the renderer in Basis is probably like the thing that I'm kind of proud of it, because building a renderer is just like shitload of work. But no, I'm not doing it. I mean, this renderer is not even deferred, so I mean, there you go. It's a very old school renderer in that sense. I guess it's sort of like comparable perhaps to like the well, I shouldn't compare it to anything, but it's sort of like a mobile renderer from Unity from like a number of years ago. It's very basic, which means that I kind of understand it somewhat well, but no, it's not fancy in any sense. But yes, yeah, D3D11 is a little limited for sure. Luckily, I do have some other backends. D3D11 just happens to be the one that works the best with this editor, for example. But yes, I've written like two Vulkan renderers now, one on video, which you might have seen if you watched the series. And then, of course, there's the WebGPU backend, which actually works kind of well, except WebGPU currently doesn't support hardware clip planes, so certain effects just don't work. And I also haven't ported over the HBAO Plus. This thing. So there's like no SSAO, then there's the built-in SSAO, which is probably not really tuned for this level now. And then there's HBAO Plus, which is, well, that might be a little extreme. So nothing is really tuned here. But yeah, the WebGPU backend only has the built-in SSAO currently, because well, I just haven't ported over the HBAO Plus to it. Other than that, it works actually really well, and I think it's even a bit faster than D3D11 on AMD cards. So that's nice. Okay. Oh, hierarchical depth buffer based occlusion culling. No, I don't do that. I have just basically the your normal frustum culling. There's an octree, so that's hierarchical, but it's not like, I guess, depth buffer based. And I have a sort of semi-working, but really actually efficient when it does work, occlusion culling system that I've been meaning to like polish up and make a video about for like years, but I haven't done that, and consequently it's not polished or even really working at the moment. But yes, yeah, rendering is not really my forte. As anyone can really see if they if they compare my stuff to anyone else's on the internet. But I do have lots of other things that I'm kind of proud of. So the only thing missing now is the game. So let's make that happen as well. Okay. Let's bring this guy a bit closer, perhaps. I mean, we can even move these guys then in Blender if we want to, but let's move him a bit closer and let's do the re-exporting. Now with the updated ground below, and that looks like the perfect place to start actually cutting downwards. What's the angle snap? Is it A? Alright, but it's in screen space. That's not what we want. That's not what we want. We can probably hide the other things for now. And then go into orthographic view and then cut downwards from that. And that should probably give it, what was it, A? Yes. Angle. We get a completely... oh, we don't want to cut through. Yeah. Yeah, you're kind of watching me relearn how to use Blender now. Sorry about that, but yes, what was it? Was it C? Cut through off, right? Yeah, that's what I wanted. I didn't want to cut through the thing. I didn't want to cut through the thing. So here's sort of where we could cut in a stair for ourselves if we wanted to. Stairs are always kind of nasty because they have lots of angles, lots of geometry. They do look kind of weird. I mean, this is sort of like a humongously large stair for this guy to climb now. But on the other hand, how much geometry do you want to waste on something like stairs if you don't actually have people running around your game? So, how do we want to do this? I don't know. That looks actually like we have a duplicate piece of... yeah, you can see there. That's what happens when you do the extrusion. You're supposed to be able to somehow get rid of that with like a manifold extrusion, but that I find often doesn't really work. At least I don't get it working all that well. Right, so how should we make a staircase here? Let's just do like a complete YOLO solution. We'll have something weird here as well, do we? No? Oh, that looks alright. Put a face there. Put a face there. Oh, that looks weird now. See if we can merge by distance. And then, yep. Nope, that didn't fix it. Merge by distance. Yeah, we don't have any extra vertices. I wonder why this shading looks so different here. It must be because we actually have some angles to something. All right. Well, let's not worry about that right now. We can instead start cutting stairs into this guy. I don't know why I chose to go with stairs for this, because I'm terrible at making stairs. It's really bad. Really bad at them, as you can see. And here we have some funky stuff. Let's take away the funky stuff. Faces, just completely remove that. And I'm sure you could do this with some like really nice sort of Blender add-on that would give you like a nice stair based on some angle or something. But I don't know how to do that. I'm not really a 3D modeler by trade. So how do we do this now? Is there some easy way? Am I just shooting myself in the foot here? I probably am. Probably am. Oh. Yeah, the angle of that is... Oh, bevel with a step pattern. Huh. What's that? Let's see. Sounds interesting. So maybe if I do like... Yeah, that's probably what is causing that weird angle to be weird. Let's... Come on. Go away. So if I do something like, I take these three, not those, but these three faces, I extrude them. I probably even, yeah, let's do that again. Let's extrude some more so that we have a lot of space. And then we'll like probably dissolve these faces, right? So dissolve those, no, edges, sorry. Then we do a bevel. But we need to probably use the bevel tool, right? Bevel. And how do I do? How do I do the pattern now? Profile type. Oh, here's some stuff. Mm-hmm. Steps. Is that it? I don't know how this works. I don't know how this works. Profile type. Reverse path. Like this is, yeah. I mean, this is clearly how I'm supposed to do it. I just don't know exactly how to apply this thing. Harder normals can overlap. Let's do a quick Blender bevel stairs. Oh, do I press this button? Alright, they're using like a... Yeah, I'm watching a video here off screen. They're using like... Hey. That's it. Yeah. You need more segments. Kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense. Right, so I just need to make this like even bigger, probably. But let's have it sort of cut into that, because that's, I feel like that is probably how it would kind of work, how it would be done. So how do we do that then? Well, let's decide that the stairs are going to start like maybe there, right? And then That guy is gonna be flying in the air for a bit. Sorry about that guy. That's fine. Get rid of those edges. Oh, not faces. And then probably something like, do I not have F2 installed? Looks like I don't. But we're still transforming in the edge space. Yeah, I don't have F2. F2 can be kind of nice. Let's see if we can find it here in the add-ons. F2. Right, and now with F2 I should be able to just... No. Do I not? Apparently I don't. I don't remember how to use Blender. You'll have to forgive me. Still in Edge, damn it. Global. At least we can extrude it like this. And subdivide. Bring that down to there. And then snap it to there. Well, come on. Grab, not C, and there. There we go. Now, of course, yeah, maybe we shouldn't actually have done this. Maybe we should have made this face here. Let's do it. Let's keep it there for now. That's not what we want. We want to merge those two together at the last one. Like so. Right, now we can remove these. We can put them in later. Now we're gonna do the stair. Let's just remove probably that one, and let's dissolve that as well. Now we should have just like this big chunk of geometry that we can bevel. Dissolve the edge, and then bevel that. Right? Ooh, hey, that becomes like an Escher stair. That's probably because we again have the edge thing there. Nope, that's not. It's because it's reaching some kind of limit. Bevel. All right. We have that there. So the edge. Now maybe. Okay, so now we got the straight thing, and it kind of looks like it's even hitting the ground properly. Do we have like the clamp overflow on? Like now we can go past that, right? But if we go put clamp overflow on, we can't. So that's good. That would be that, and then we do custom, and then we do lots of segments. We do need the stairs to be like larger though. How can we scale the stairs? Can we scale the stairs? Do we have to like? Do we have to like mess around with this preset to get more stairs? Width type, width segments. Yeah, I mean it does give us more segments, but it doesn't affect the preset or this shape. This profile is what it's called, of course. Super ellipse. Hey. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's annoying. Anyway, I'll do a little bit of research into how to make these stairs more elegantly. Let's not waste time on that right now. Instead, what we can do is we can start on this structure that's going to sort of start from here and then go over the entrance. And I think for that, let's save this. Actually, that's not the one I wanted. I wanted the finish editing, because I want to actually bring in a mother vehicle here in the shot. Let's bring in one of these things. They look kind of stupid without wheels and cranes and everything. Those things are sort of brought in at runtime. That's why they look like they look here. And this is of course also super early version. But I think it will have to do for now. So we get this back into Blender now with the vehicle in place. Yeah, I should really update to Blender 4. So we can see that the required height is going to be like maybe a few units, few meters above this steering sort of bridge or cockpit here. And we probably actually want to model the structure as a separate mesh from this. Yeah, let's do that. That's probably a better idea. We can quickly take this guy and give the other side the similar treatment. Yeah. So let's hide the surroundings for a bit. Where do we actually want to do the cutoff? There probably shouldn't be any kind of stairs on this side, I think. You just want essentially like the support, this support mass. Oh, that's probably fine. So what I can do here now then is take out these faces. Faces away. I somehow have two of those. What is going on? Oh, I have an extra edge there. Let's get rid of the edge. Delete edge. Delete edge. What is that edge? Let's undo this. I probably did something stupid earlier. Right, so we have the face there. We take this one and we subdivide it. And now we have only one. Yeah, okay. That's what I wanted. Yeah, this is what happens when you don't use... Oh, you don't use Blender for a while. You don't remember anything at all anymore. It's horrible. Of course, I've never used Blender professionally for anything, so it's all just hobbyist stuff. All right. Yeah. And now then, can we somehow copy this part of this thing here? And this is going to be triangulated. It's kind of annoying. It's going to be triangulated because that is how it sort of runs through the whole game engine before it arrives here. That's probably more work than it's really worth. So let's not do that. Let's do the same way we did on the other side. So we'll cut this off. Again, we're still working with sort of white box or gray box or whatever box geometry. So we do have an edge here. I'm not sure it's the right one though. Let's use that one, and then we'll take these guys and we'll extrude them out along the Y. Yep. Can we grab these along the Y and drag them to there? Get the same width. We'll probably need to do these separately. So Y and there, and then the upper side. We can just snap them there, and now we have the same thickness for those things. Okay. And then we'll want to cut this. And same thing here, we want to actually match them to the other side. So probably there, yeah. Can I actually take like the top one? Yeah, I think that'll be fine. Like so. I'm going to extrude it down, and we'll extrude it down to just Z, right? Oh, again, we need to be in global. Extrude down to Z. Extrude. Right, okay. There we go. Like so. And this one we wanna match to that. And then we can quite simply bring these two faces in. Let's go back to our edge, grab Y, and then match to that. That should be it. And here we can clearly see that we have some bullshit here, because this is like thicker than it should be. That typically means that you have some crap in your Blender file. Removed 18 vertices that were sitting on top of each other, and now the edge is nice and thin again. Okay. Okay. So much work for so little profit. All right. Well, that's probably good enough for now. We can maybe I'll do like a smart UV project. Not that we don't really use any textures for that, but still. So there. Now we have that one as well, and it looks like it should. So now then, how do we create a new Blender sync object? There's this thing called a quick mesh. We can do outer wall. Let's put it in there, and we'll quite simply place it somewhere. It doesn't really matter exactly where. We do want to sort of rotate it in the world space along this wall, though. So we'll probably best if we copy that object transform, apply it to this guy, and then then we move it back to roughly the center of where the object is going to be. We can try to make it exactly the center if we're being really precise about it, like that. Then we want to include the surroundings, and let's go with like maybe 30. We can maybe use a bit larger, 40. We do want it to be a physics blocker, and it just tells us that we don't actually have any physics data in this box yet. But that's fine. Advanced properties, I don't think we need now. It just shows the GUID for the object. Now we can edit it in Blender. And we'll want to turn on random colors to see sort of the difference between this guy and the rest. Sometimes it's nice to have like the cavity rendering on, not always. This is like a sort of like a ambient occlusion thingy. It makes like inner corners and crevices darker, and then the outer ones brighter. Can make it a bit easier to see some of these things. So now we'll want to work in local space, because this is rotated. You can see like the world space thingy, world space grid here. And Blender Sync works with the assumption that like eventually you're going to take this into its own Blender file and model it properly and apply textures and everything. And at that point you're probably going to like reset the rotation in the Blender file, and then if you place it in the world in the game editor, then you will rotate it there. Which means that we actually have like a Z rotation of 25.7 degrees here now, and that means that if we what should we do? Maybe we'll remove those first, and then we'll put in a cylinder. Way too detailed. Let's go with like 14 maybe. Rotate around, what is it? Is it Y maybe? 90? Okay, that's now in world space. That's annoying. That's annoying. We can use that though, for the time being at least. The radius is a bit hefty. Let's put it at 1. That will be like a 1 meter thick thing. It's still pretty huge. Now that we are here, now we can rotate in local. Right? 90. Yeah, now we can rotate in local. It's interesting that you can't rotate in local when you are actually creating the shape, but oh well. X, we can just make this wider, like so. We need to move it up, something like that maybe. So this is like a cylindrical sort of support beam or whatever. Then this is kind of how high it would sit. I think that's probably fine. Let's make sure this sort of looks like what we expect it to look like in the game. It does. Yeah, you can see that the UV textures are completely, or the texture UVs are completely borked. Smart UV project. And we'll probably want to put in like an edge split modifier here as well. Right, and then make this smooth. It doesn't look quite smooth with the cavity rendering on, but if we turn it off, then it looks smooth. But it should look smooth in the engine now if we look at it there. And it does. So that's fine. Okay. Now this thing should have physics, actually. If we put in like a debug box on top of it. And then we simulate that box. It should fall off it, yes. So these errors here are before we actually did the proper import. Okay. So I was thinking something like this. We have this main support here, kind of goes in like a 45-degree angle, because everyone knows if you make something 45-degree angles, it makes it look sci-fi immediately, right? That's just how it is. So lots of 45-degree angles then. Let's make that the active thing, and let's move the cursor to selected. We can add in another cylinder, which is again going to be like 14, I think, and radius 0.5, and yeah, that's probably good enough for now. And then again, we need to rotate it in local space. 45, and bring it down, and oh, no, that's not right. Rotate Y, yeah, 45 minus 45. I don't know which space I was in. So grab not Y, and we should be able to roughly match it. Something like that. I think this guy should probably be scaled in the X a bit more. And then grab along the X-axis and we'll move it there. Then we can duplicate this guy. Rotate Y minus 90. And we'll grab it all the way to the other side. This could perhaps be like mirror modeled, but it's kind of tricky to do that with when it's rotated at 27 degrees. Maybe it can be done, I don't know. Maybe it can be done. But yeah, I would need to probably like should I do that just for shits and giggles? Let's try to do that. I haven't really messed around with these kinds of modifiers in Blender Sync, so let's see if it works. If I just delete that still, and then I copy that into like text editor so that I don't forget what the rotation was. Move it off to the side, and then we can reset the rotation like so. And then we'll cut this thing in half, and we'll delete those faces. Right, and then we'll put in a mirror modifier, and we'll do it probably. I think it should be probably before that, right? Okay, so we're pretty certain now that the length is good, right? If we put back the, what was it, minus 25? Oh, that's probably positive 25.7. The length is all right. So now then, let's again move the cursor there. Maybe I can even do something like this. And rotate 45, minus 45. Grab not Y. Again, I get the rotation wrong. Now we can work in global, at least. Y minus 45. something like that. I'll grab it and try to fit it there. And we immediately have one on the other side as well because we have the mirror there. So that's fun. Put in the edge and then grab like so. And then we want to do another cylinder. And we'll just, global. We'll just move it down a little bit. Something like that. And then we'll do the connections sort of properly then when I do that. The final meshes. Okay. Yeah, that's probably all right. Let's put the rotation back. Rotation around Z, like so. Want everything to be smooth though. We're gonna see some weird stuff there in those connections because they're obviously not perfect. Smart UV project, that's fine. And maybe we can take a look at it in the engine. Right, so is this believable, first of all, that there's like this huge beam crossing this, which is supposed to have like a big sort of display thingy on top? I don't know. Maybe it is. I feel like in in real life there will probably be some extra support somewhere. Because I find like if you just make something that like this could be sort of realistic if the scale was completely different. If a person would be like as tall as this house, but it's not necessarily realistic at this scale without any extra supports. And of course, it doesn't really matter for the gameplay or anything like that, but it just sort of looks wrong. So yeah, I might have to put in something. But for now, it's fine. We're just sort of messing around with the overall shape of this. So let's give this thing another material. Block out. I think sand is probably pretty alright, or should it be the same color as this house maybe? House uses, what does the house use? Brick. Yeah, maybe brick is nicer. I have a bunch of these colors that I use for different things here in the blockout phase. Of course, you can make your own. You can use any color you want, but I typically use similar ones to give the game sort of a more coherent look, even at this stage. You have the same color sort of houses and things here at the refinery. All right, so that would be that. Yeah, it does look slightly offset though, that part, but it's probably fine. Okay. And then we have the actual thing, and this is like obviously like just something that I very quickly drew in Krita before this thing. I don't know exactly how that thing is going to look. But we should come up with something. So we have this is like a very rectangular grid. Maybe it doesn't need to be a rectangular grid for these pixels. Maybe it can be sort of more elliptical or something like that. But maybe we can start with a rectangular grid and then switch them out later for something else. I think I'm gonna start with just the pixels. Put in some placeholders for the pixels. So let's do that. Let's create another quick mesh. Put it there. Take the transform for that one and apply it to the new one, and then move it upwards. Yeah, and we'll want a little bit of surroundings, not too much, but a little bit. Maybe 20, and maybe we'll take one of these guys, and we'll move them along so that they sort of follow along and enter the frame. Is this guy now actually standing on it? Pretty much. He's pretty much standing on it. Yeah, you can see these guys I've been placing them like all over the place whenever there is something. I'm like placing a small person there to see like, okay, how big is this thing? And some of these things are really like truly super big. Like, could this guy fit through that door? Blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, he kind of can. That sort of stuff. But yeah, cool. So now we have that. We can go into Blender. You can see that we just got some of the vertices there at the sides, but that doesn't matter. It's completely fine. Put in the random thing again. Now let's see if we can do this with like an array modifier, right? Because the array modifier is supposedly really good at this sort of thing. So let's make one small change. I'm actually going to cancel this edit. And again, I need to double click to cancel it. I'm going to put this guy right underneath this object, just as a marker for us. That is the center of that support beam. Like so. So now we have the center there. Yeah, I'm not super super experienced with these array modifiers, but let's see what we can do. Array. So relative offset. You can make more of them. Whoa, hey! I have a feeling that we might want to actually reset the rotation here as well, so that we can then just move it back essentially. What happens now if we move this off to the side? They do follow along quite nicely. Okay. Let's make this pixel much smaller. This should probably be quite large still, but not too large. How many do we want? What is the resolution of our display here? 128 maybe? That's quite a lot. Let's do half of that, 64. And then you understand that these pixels should be quite small. Relative offset. Let's do something like that. Yeah, it will still be a very low resolution display. So it can only really show large text. Things like stop or go, proceed. That kind of stuff. Right. I would want this to be centered, so let's center it at least like more or less. When is it centered? It's probably centered around like there maybe. looks good. Then we duplicate it. And move it. Actually, can we do the same thing with this array modifier? Z. Yeah, okay. Now it just changes the direction essentially of that. Okay, well that's not exactly what we want. That is not exactly what we want. So again, let's be noobs about it, and then just copy this a few times. Move it up, do this by hand essentially. So then we have 5 of them. If we copy these and move them up, now we have 10. And maybe duplicate once more. There we go. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. We want the whole cube, not just one side of it. Yeah, okay. And then we'll put back the rotation here. Yeah, that's quite large. We can see how it looks like in the engine. Let's do a quick UV project, even though we're not really using any textures yet at this point. Yeah, that's kind of large, and that's gonna sort of moire pattern quite badly. Yeah. Those things sort of tend to moire pattern though, so it might be fine. It might be fine, but I don't know. Let's see. Where is this? We explore to this guy. Block out blue. Block out blue. What does block out blue look like? It looks like that. If we would put some like really crazy bloom color on top of that stuff. Block out base material. Yeah, let's go to game materials and base material diffuse. Let's do something like bloom. Oh, bloom boost. And we'll add. What should we add? Let's put in a parameter here that we call bloom boost, and we set it to 0.1, I think. Float parameter and a vector operation. So we take in the color, we multiply it by this bloom boost. We'll have to turn that into a vector probably. Vector, it's a vector 1. And then we put that into the bloom color. Something like that. Bloom boost. And then we go here, and I'm just gonna hack this because this is now like an override for that. So we do bloom boost. Now if we open this up, we should have the overridden. Yeah, now we have the bloom boost there. Let's move this off to the side and see what we have. Oh, I need to do it that way. Reload the engine to get the new material loaded. Might not be needed, but also might be needed. Blue. So now if we crank up the bloom a little bit. Where's my... Something's happened with my... oh, there it is. Why don't you show me the modal dialog? Thank you very much. Crank up the bloom here. 0.6 maybe. Oh, yeah, this thing is using the same. That's probably not the best idea. I just select something else for this for the time being. Let's go with like, I don't know, sand. Yeah, there's quite a bit of aliasing on this, which is not nice. It's clearly not nice. I think still kind of like the idea of this, but I think we might have to like just make the make the distance between these things larger. Yeah. Yeah, well, this is what happens when you don't really prototype an idea enough. Like here we have, what was it, 7 times 4. That doesn't really allow us to show any kind of message at all. But on the other hand, these kinds of things, when they when there are this many, they kind of tend to alias. One thing that is kind of interesting, which I think I will want to try, is like the brighter the color of one of these guys. Like if we actually apply this now. Oh, I need to be here to apply it. Apply this. The brighter the color of one of these guys, the sort of larger they would be. Which of course I can't really show properly here now without actually having tech support for it. But I think that might be kind of interesting. You would have like a shader that would go through these and rescale them on the fly. Might look interesting. Yeah. I'm gonna have to try this a bit more. What? Did I not update and keep editing? Ah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I restarted the engine, so we lost the connection to this. Oops. We can just do new, general, don't save, start the server. Yeah, I restarted this to reload the material, and at the same time we lost the connection to Blender. In the wrong object here. This is the one I want to edit. Right, so now if we apply this and then change a few of these guys, make them larger, individual origins, Now it should work. Yep. Okay, well, I kind of feel like I need a little bit of more tech support to do this thing properly. So let's maybe not spend any more time on that right now. Instead, what we could do is I'm gonna bring down the bloom boost again. Like so. We can put that back to use the blue material. Maybe we'll spend a little time just doing like a dynamic object, because I feel like I want some more dynamic objects here to mess around with. Oh, and this guy, as we already talked about, this should actually be sort of placed here instead of there, so that it doesn't actually intersect the door, right? Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I have to think about that. Let's play this a bit and see what it looks like. And put down a car there. And we can open the gates, perhaps. Open the main gate. Yeah. Does look kind of interesting, at least up close. But it moires like crazy when you go further, and that might be kind of a little disturbing. Yeah, just all kinds of weird patterns emerging. Yeah, I don't know. If we make it like really bright and have some interesting things to show on it, maybe it could look interesting from afar as well. But we'll see. It's a little bigger than I envisioned it originally. But that might not be a problem. And now that poor guy is hovering in the air there. Go back. All right. Let's end the stream today by creating some more boxes for us to play around with. Maybe some boxes and some, I don't know, planks or something. At least one thing. So this guy. What was the name of that? It is copy full name. It is development/debugbox111, and yeah, that's because it is like 1 meters in all dimensions. And we can find that blueprint here somewhere. Development blueprints. Yes, here we go. So this box quite simply has a dynamic body transform component. We can click here to preview the thing. You can see the yellow shapes. That's the physics collisions. And yeah, it is 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, yes. And it has a mass of 10. That might actually be why it's like super, super light. Yeah, this half-meter box is actually behaves much better with the crane, if I remember correctly. Maybe if we gave this thing more weight. Let's make it 50. And then move one of these guys closer to the crane so we don't have to reposition the vehicle. And now then, now if we try to lift this thing, I think it should behave better. Yeah, look at that. Now it doesn't do anything crazy anymore. It's kind of often that actually things start going haywire on the physics side if you have something that is quite large but then just doesn't have any sort of realistic mass, and that does not work very well. Okay, cool. So now we can drop this in our little depression here in the pool. Hey. And then we can drive around. Lots of interesting physics gameplay to be had from just moving things around. Okay, but the box that I was thinking we would model today would be even larger than that. So let's cancel this edit. I can never remember to click twice. We can stop the server. We don't need the Blender sync for this. Let's Google some sci-fi crates. So, sci-fi crate. We don't need to copy any of this outright, but just to get some inspiration. Maybe something like this. That looks quite alright. And we'll probably have lots of dynamic objects and things that you can mess around with. Let's try to create something like that. So let's start. Let's put in a cube, and yeah, that is the front or the back. So we can scale it along the X a little bit. You can see here that it's 4 meters by 2 meters by 2 meters. It's quite large actually. It's like double the height of this one. That's probably alright. I think it could be a little bit wider. Something like that. And then we'll bevel these 4 sides and put in like one more edge like that. And we can make it perhaps make it smooth and put in an edge split. That means that okay, it's with just 2 of those segments we need the edge angle to be quite high actually, but that's probably all right. Then we'll take 2 of these guys and we'll scale them. Was it individual origins maybe? Scale them along Y. So no, X. X is what I want. Okay, so it's not individual origins. It is. Maybe it is the median point. Yeah, okay, it is the median point. Like so. maybe even a bit more, like so. No, I want 2 more. So, and then I think I want like those and those, and then extrude along normals. Not that much, just a little bit. Something like that. Right. Right. And maybe... Actually, let's not do that yet. We can come back to that in a bit. I think I want to... like... raise some of this up a little bit. And maybe even create like a somewhat obvious place for the player to actually like connect their crane to one of these things. So how do we do that? It can be kind of blocky still. Doesn't have to be round, but I think I want these things to be sort of a bit wider. Maybe bring that in a little bit. And then we'll sort of raise this quite a bit. And we'll take these. Again, I could use a mirror modifier to do this stuff. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I could use a mirror modifier to do this stuff just on one side and then mirror it to the other side, but this is so simple that it's almost faster to just do it like this. I'm confused by that tool, so let's turn it off for now. Like so. And here we clearly want these 4 edges to be sharp, so let's make them sharp. Mark sharp. Like so. And I think probably these ones as well. Those ones and these ones. Oh. Sharp. It has like a pretty hard sort of... Would it look cool if we made this one sharp and this one sharp? Not necessarily. Yeah, I don't think that works. But yeah, this is probably fine. This sort of does mess a little bit with my previous plan of having this thicker surrounding sort of I don't know. I don't even know what to call them, like beveled things. So let's actually move those in. Oh, I need to snap to vertex X. Put it there. There we go. All right, so now we can add these things back in. Scale X. It's like a little bit. I'm doing so many things now that I'm gonna do that mirroring that I spoke about. Just cut that in half and do a mirror, and that's it. Should probably have done this from the beginning. Move that over a little bit, something like that. Maybe we will do something like this. Yeah, we just cut that there, and then we cut the same thing on the other side. Then we can connect those. Actually, we don't want to face. We want to join, right? Something like that. We take those, and we take those. Oh, but we need, yeah. Need like a smaller segment here in the middle. Take these faces and those faces, and then we scale them along Y. So we get this kind of profile, and then we mark probably not those. We might mark all of these sharp. Mark sharp. There we go. Same thing here. Mark sharp. All right. And what do we want to happen here in the end section of this thing? Let's actually get rid of those. Let's dissolve those edges. Dissolve edge. Then we can do insert, and then we can do grab X. Something like that. And then we can mark that as sharp. We can mark that as sharp. That gives it a somewhat interesting look. That one and that one. Does that look all right? I'm not super impressed, but maybe I don't need to be. Off-topic question: are you using a library like PhysX for your collision detection? Yes, I am. This game is driven by PhysX. I have sort of a physics abstraction library or API, which I can use to plug into several different engines, physics and collision libraries. So far I have PhysX and Bullet implemented, but the physics one is the most fully featured one, and it is the one that supports the vehicle dynamics as well. So yes, it is physics, but or PhysX, but it can be something else if you don't want to use PhysX for a particular game that you want to use the engine for. This is weird. I don't know what to do about this. It's probably because this is sharp, but this is not. Let's make it look better if that is sharp. Yeah, but then that also needs to be sharp. I think these things need to be sharp here in the middle. These things can be smooth because this is smooth. Yeah. Something like that. And we can even, if we want to, maybe this would look better if I just simply did merge at center. Would it? Maybe it would. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it would be better if I did merged it at last instead. Yeah, I think that looks better. Merge it at that. Merge that at that. And then makes it a bit more simple. Makes it a bit more simple to boot. Okay, and then I had the idea of making like this part a bit thicker still. So now we can use the extrude along normals. Boop. Something like that. Nah. Does that look like a sci-fi crate? I think it kind of does. I think it kind of does. It's probably good enough for now. I still want to do something on the top. Maybe not. I think this is probably fine. This top section is sort of the highest point on the thing, so that's probably fine. Okay. So let's save this. We go into, what should we use? Probably like props, maybe objects. Huh. Yeah, these are all resource packs at this level, and we can choose which resource pack we want to put it in. I think I'll put it in objects. I'll put it in like dynamic props. And then I'll call this dynamic create 1. And then I'll still do this. I'll put in a double underscore or underscore work. And I call this dynamic create 1. The underscore work is a convention that I use for this game. It is specified in the asset server script that the asset server shouldn't try to look for any files and auto convert them if they are in the work underscore work folder. Now we can do an FBX. Do we have the basis mesh preset? Yes, we do. And I'll just put it here one level up. Dynamic create FBX. That's fine. Export the mesh. And we immediately got it here as a bin mesh. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. If I create a new one of these things, gameplay blueprints. You create like a new blueprint file for these kinds of things. Maybe I should. There's not really a good way to do that yet, though. So we'll just copy one of these guys. These are just files after all. So let's call these like dynamic props. And yeah, we can probably even go in here and then just delete that and delete that and add a new one, and we call this dynamic props dynamic create 1. Oh, not create, but create 1. And we'll want a component, and we want a mesh component. Actually, before we want the mesh component, let's add in, yes, we can delete that. Let's add in the dynamic body transform component. Okay, and we move that up in the list. Then we'll take this dynamic create is the one we want. Bin material can be one of the block out ones. Block out maybe, I don't know. Let's use the brick one. Yeah, let's use the brick one for now. So I don't think it should block the nav mesh. We do want to render a thumbnail. It is dynamic. This dynamic flag here is not the same as like whether or not it's a dynamic body from like a physics sense. This dynamic flag here has to do with like how do we calculate the GI for it. Like, does it go into a light map or does it go into the light probe system? That kind of thing. And we want it in all of the things. Yes. Let's save that and boom, we have it here. Hey. And we can probably even see the box there, and it's obviously too small. What was it? It was something like 4, maybe 5. Oh, we can see it start poking out there on the side. 5.3 maybe. We'll get pretty close. 5.2. 5.1. 5.1 looks like it's pretty good. And then we can make it higher. Let's try 3. That's a bit too much. 2.6. 2.5. That looks good. Yeah, it's a little like, you can see it actually fits. We can actually drag this out. It fits like quite well there on the top, but it's a little bit offset there on the bottom. So what we can do is we can move the position maybe upwards ever so slightly. Like so, and then we can make it a bit lower. 0.5, something like that. That should be quite good. Now it's sort of flush against both sides. And then we'll just make it 2.5, 2.6, 2.7. I don't have any fancy drag and drop editors for this, or sort of dragging to set the size, unfortunately, but you're gonna have to deal with this kind of thing. It's a one-man engine anyway. Okay, that might actually be even like a little too large. So what I'm gonna do here is actually I'll put that back to 0, and it should be 0, 0, 0, and then because these things tend to like they're kind of annoying if you get stuck on them, and they're like they have collisions that are larger than they look like they should have. So I'm gonna just do this, make it a bit smaller than it looks like it is, collision wise, and also width wise, like so. And that should make sure that it looks roughly good. I mean, you can of course generate like a tri-mesh for this if you want to. You can use a, oh no, not for dynamic one actually. Yeah, tri-mesh is actually only work for static ones in physics, but you can use a convex hull if you want to make it more exact. But I think a box is quite fine for this. So let's use that. And I think that's probably everything we need. Now we just reload the engine again to, like, not everything hot updates here, unfortunately. But here's our wonderful dynamic crate. Let's drop it to the ground. Yay. Something like that. It does sort of wiggle a little bit, as you can see. And again, that might be because we have the mass set way too low. So let's make this like 200. And that might clear that wiggling right up. No, is it sitting somehow some weird? Oh, that's interesting. Still wiggles. Why do you wiggle? Wiggle, wiggle. Okay. Strange. I should perhaps calculate the mass out of like the density and the size. That might be a safer way to do that. Yep. Now they settle. This one seems to, like, interestingly sort of bounce a little bit. What is the like restitution for that? Can I even set it from here? I'm not sure I can. Oh, default, huh? Yeah, the restitution is sort of set for these for these things. If we put it to something like vehicle chassis, it probably will have a different sort of restitution value. That's something that I probably should work on a little bit more. It's kind of interesting. This one goes to sleep. This one doesn't really seem to do that. Anyway, let's play around with these a little bit. See how they behave. And I need to put in some more physics materials for these kinds of things. Are they too far away for me to lift with this crane? They might be. They might be a little too far away. Yeah. Yeah, I think they still need to be heavier. Like if you put a guy next to one of these guys, they're ridiculously large. Let's make them a bit smaller. They don't need to be that large necessarily. That should also mean that yeah, okay. To scale towards the 3D cursor. There we go. Yeah, that should also mean that they should settle more nicely when we get the size down. So FBX is what I want. I want that one. And we should be able to see it here in the editor. 2 maybe. That's a little too small. 2.5. 2.6, 2.8, 2.8 looks pretty good. Width 1.6, 1.4, that looks alright. And then height is like 1.3. Yeah, that looks excellent. That looks excellent. Sure, let's save that. Alright, now let's see. Maybe they're not so ridiculously large anymore. Yeah, now you can see they settle immediately. Because we have a sensible mass for this kind of, for this large of an object. Let's put them closer and drop them there instead. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Now one of them is jiggling a little bit though. Jiggling and wiggling. This camera is a little annoying. I need to think about what to do about the crane camera. Yeah. But yeah, this does work. So that's fine. I would drop it onto like a... Oh, hey. Drop it onto a vehicle. Should get a somewhat predictable result out of that. Boom. Yeah. Yeah, that looks and behaves like I want, sort of. Okay, cool. Cool. Hello, it looks great. Well, thank you. It is coming together slowly but surely. You could have a kind of monitor in one of the corners with a top-down camera for the crane. Yeah, so Earlier in the video series, I created this thing with like the role system, which I was sort of thinking I would spend a lot more time on the mother vehicle and flesh it out, but yeah, I wanted to move on to some other things. So it never really got used for anything. But the idea here is that you can have like different roles for these vehicles, at least for this big one, and they each come with their own camera setup. So now you have like the driver role, and that means that you can drive around. And then if you switch to like a cargo crane role, then the camera would sort of like swoop to around this, and you can more easily see what you're doing. There's quite a bit of camera work left to do on this. Like this has a driving camera that just like doesn't really work. It is the one that you're looking at right now, and it just like it essentially intersects this vehicle like this, and you can't see anything what you're doing. Eventually you're gonna go completely inside the vehicle, and then you'll see basically out the front. So this camera just needs to be completely disabled for this vehicle. You should only have this orbit camera here. So all kinds of things like that. But yeah, I think this role system will be the way that I iterate and move between the different cameras and the different things in the game. It is kind of cool to be able to like drive and control the camera at the same time though, but I'm not sure it will actually be a good idea to let the player do that in the game. All kinds of weird things might happen if you mess around with the camera while you're driving. All right. I think I might actually end the stream soon. So we did get some things done. Not that much. I'm super rusty with Blender, as you can see, but I will be doing a lot more of it in the coming days and weeks. So I should get better at it again. Maybe we can do another stream, model something together. But in the meantime, do you have any questions about what we have currently? Do you have any wishes for how I cover these things in the future? I need to have a good think about how this screen idea is going to work or not work. We should probably make it so that you can spawn these kinds of things from the code, actually. There should be, if we go into the code and look for, what is it, like vehicles, I think. Here we go. Debug spawnable object type, yeah. Let's add it here. And what was it called? What was it called? It was called that. And we can add it like maybe one unit from the surface. For that to work, we actually need to disconnect this guy, otherwise we can't write to the Zig DLL. I just started watching the stream. Yes, I fully understand. This was kind of unannounced and at a weird time. So I fully understand that you don't have any immediate ideas. Now we can spawn these guys directly here in the vehicle. Like this, and then we can Then we can drive around with it and mess around with the things. And they sort of slide around a little bit. Let's see if we can lift up one of these things up onto the refinery. And here we'll see this thing does not have collisions yet, so we can just drive right past it, or right through it, rather. So try to lift that up. So yeah, this is kind of fun being able to. Yeah, those pillars do have collision though, so I can just completely ignore that monorail. It's kind of fun being able to actually load these things into other things, and it's kind of fun to be able to drive and use the crane at the same time. Might have to come up with the way to do that, but it is also kind of bug prone and error prone. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll figure something out. Let's put down a truck number 2 here. Oh no, oh no, 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 no. Like so. And yeah, this is what I was mentioned in a previous video, that I think the crane should be sort of an extension of the vehicle, in the sense that you should be able to switch avatar if you can like reach the vehicle via the crane. I don't know if it makes sense sort of from a realistic perspective, but it doesn't necessarily need to do that. And then we lower it down a little bit more. There we go. Boom. And now we can drive around with the thing. Yeah, it is quite huge, the crate still. For me, this live stream formula is okay. I like watching development process. And that is nice to hear. Yeah, I realized that I don't have a big sort of live streaming community yet, but of course I will be putting these things up as VODs as well. And a lot of the videos that I did previously were sort of live stream like, even though they weren't actual live streams. Like the whole transmission series is basically just me turning on the camera and then just mumbling for an hour or so. Where was the remove smokestack? That's the one I wanted. So I might as well just live stream this stuff, and then if you miss it, no hard feelings. Then you can just watch it later if you find it interesting. But it does mean that there's probably even more of me just like trying things out and things that don't work. But I guess people are kind of used to that. That is, of course, what live stream development is. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Fun as always to have an audience. I think I'll do a bit more thinking about these things that we looked at today. And then maybe we'll continue with this or do something else. I do have some things planned for the upcoming days related to the game. I don't work full time on this, by the way, but I do have some time set aside in the upcoming days and weeks, months even, for this. So I hope to make quite a bit of progress on the actual game. Now that I sort of have all the tech pieces in a somewhat good shape. Like the Merlin and particle system work was kind of the last big missing piece. And it is pretty good as well. I realize I haven't actually shown that yet. We can end with showing like a little bit of Merlin stuff. Right, this is not actually a Merlin particle system. This is an old style particle system, but I didn't actually redo that smokestack. Environment. Oh, come on. Where was the smokestack? Oh, it's probably actually that one, or then it is that one. Yeah, so this is a Merlin effect, yeah, and it's actually not that. Is it smoke pillar? Desert plain destination smoke pillar. There we go. There it is. Can't find my own thing. Yeah, so here here we have a Merlin version of the smoke pillar thingy, which uses like mesh particles and some shader trickery to sort of dissolve them. And here's me just trying to like recreate a previous particle system with Merlin. So this one with the smoke is like an old school one, and this is new thing on the right is a Merlin one. So looking pretty good. And then there's like a a bunch of F12 buttons over there doing things. So these are like billboards. These are not meshes. And yeah, so the Merlin stuff is coming together quite nicely. I just haven't had any time to make a video about that yet. What kind of game will it be? Like a sandbox or a game where you have to complete levels or something? Yeah, so it is of course kind of difficult to promise anything yet at this point, but my plan is that it will indeed be a game with levels. Hopefully it will be a game where you can kind of easily make your own content, player-driven content, so you can essentially, at least in theory, make like your own campaign if you want to. But I am planning to make a single-player campaign, which will consist of levels, and this stuff that you're seeing now and you've seen today is part of that. But it will also have a sandbox feature, so I plan to just make it easy for people to load up one of the included sandbox levels and mess around with that. Hopefully, I'm not promising anything, but hopefully in like a co-op or multiplayer setting. That's kind of there's some technical challenges there still to solve, and it probably won't be at release, but hopefully you can mess around with that, and like I said, you should be able to just create your own stuff, because I own all the tools, so I can release all the tools that I want. But yes, there will be a single player campaign which will consist of levels, and it will be sort of a linear campaign, but the levels should be reasonably large and wide. And this demo level, for example, will have a bunch of puzzles to solve, but you should be able to find your own way of solving them. At least that's my hope. Because again, it is a physics-based thing, so I hope that players will be able to find ways that I didn't even think of solving these things. And how can I beta test, or will there be a thing like this in the future? I do plan to release the demo this year, and it should hopefully also come with a sort of a sandbox mode. But it will probably be released in like in a few batches, if you will. So not everything might be included right at the start. But I plan to release like the demo and then perhaps even update the demo later on with things. And that should contain a fair bit of stuff for you to play around with. And I do also intend to and hope to release at least a pretty significant part of the tools for the game, so that people can actually mess around with it, build their own stuff. But I don't have any concrete release dates yet for that kind of thing. But just following the YouTube channel is a pretty good way to stay on top of these things. I will announce more when I know. Lucas M says, personally I prefer the unedited videos, either live streams or normal video. I like watching problem solving stuff during the process, so for me this kind of videos are very interesting. That's nice to hear. I think this is sort of the kind of video that I know how to make, at least relatively easily. Of course, I do occasionally put out things like the video series, or the video series on the 2 videos regarding video playback. But those take like ages to animate and script and do. So I prefer to make these. So expect more of this kind of stuff if you're interested in it. I'm glad to hear it serves someone. All right. Coolio. With that, I think I will thank you for your time this time around, and maybe I'll be a bit better about actually announcing these streams beforehand, but I'm not promising anything. I bet there will be both announced and unannounced streams in the future as well. If I didn't answer your question today, or you have any more questions that you would like me to answer, then write them in the comments of the VOD or something. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye.